A1 events, so it's going to be a tight one this. I think maybe lane 2 and lane 9 will be my pick as we start to run through the start list. So we've got lane 1 Mexico is Beatriz Brunos Fragoza. Lane 2 from Poland, Anna Pulaska. She's one to seriously watch. She's one of the best paddlers there is in the business at the moment. Lane 3 from China is Mengdi Yin. Lane 4 from Spain, they're always out very quick, and a boat that you can't miss, that's for sure, is Sara Uzandi from Spain. Lane 5, Anna Lutz, she is going to be the crowd favourite from Hungary. Lane 6, Frederica Moreka, she is from Denmark, under a married name now, and she's going to be maybe one of my picks as well. Lane 7 is Yu from China. Lane 8, Deb Kerr, she is from Great Britain. And lane 9, another paddler paddling under a new married name is Anya Opolino.
Yes, just to throw the commentators off. They come in with a new season and you look on the start list and you go, oh, I haven't seen that name before. Who the hell is that? And it turns out it's Anya Osterman under a different name. But yes, I'm going to keep an eye on lane 4, Sarah Uzandi from Spain. I think she looked really, really good in the semi-final. She's got that eye-catching boat there. You can see that in the middle of the field, the green and the yellow. Let's keep an eye on her. Anna Lutz, of course, the hometown favourite. She'll have the crowd roaring for her. But it really is anybody's race, and we're off to a clean start. And everyone got away together, which is a good way to get into a 200-metre race as they settle down now and get the rhythm going. And it is Sarah Uzundi from Spain. She has absolutely flown out of the starting block. She's put half a boat length already on Anna Lutz. So it's Uzundi from Spain, Lutz from Hungary. Try to go with her, but look at the power of the pocket rocket from Spain. Sarah Uzundi, she has opened up a commanding lead. At the moment, they're racing for second. Anna Lutz trying to hold on there with the home crowd cheering her on. It's Uzundi down here on the far side of the course in lane 9. It is Apollino, but Uzundi gets the win, easing down, if you don't mind, taking it easy across the finish line. What a statement to make, to be able to just take your foot off the pedal and cruise over that finish line. Did Anna Lutz get the silver? We'll have to wait for the photo finish. But my goodness, that is a very, very powerful performance from the Spaniard, Sarah Uzundi. You want every race to be at your very best, but there's a chance that maybe in just one of those races you're not going to quite nail it, and you hope it's not going to be in the final. Sarah Uzundi's put together 3 very good races this weekend, and that's good consistency. So not only would she be happy, I'm sure, with getting the win and the gold medal, but she'd be very happy with her consistency over the weekend.
The moment has arrived where only one victory matters, and another step towards eternal glory must be taken. The round of 16 of the Copa Libertadores, starting August 11th, only on beIN Sports.
as we look now towards probably my race of the session is the C1 women's 200 metre. You've got, I mean, arguably, and this is my opinion and my opinion only, but probably 4 of the best paddlers we've ever seen in this event. We spoke earlier about how strong this event is now. Obviously, the women's sea boats have only entered the Olympic competition in the last couple of Olympic cycles, and we're now seeing such strong women line up in these events. So we've got lane 1 from China, Changwen Xiaohui from China. We've got lane 2, as we pan to her, from Canada, Sophia Jensen. She's a young up-and-comer. She had a brilliant race yesterday in the 500 metre. Lane 3 from Ukraine, Irina Fedorov. Lane 4 from Spain is Anita Yakom. Lane 5 from Ukraine, and one to watch. She, I think, won World Championship gold medal last year, is Luzon from Ukraine. Lane 6 from Cuba is Du Bois. She also was on the podium last year. Lane 7 from Hungary is Kiss. She'll have the crowd on her side. Lane 8 is Nevin Harrison from the USA. She's got a couple of Olympic medals in her draw. And lane 9 as well, having a couple of Olympics medals in her draw, is Katie Vincent from Canada. So a very strong race. I'll be looking at lane 5, 6, 8 and 9. Wouldn't be able to pick it between them, to be honest, Ross.
I think you're right, but I'm also going to throw in a smoky here. I'm going to say Antia Giacomi from Spain in lane 4. We could have Spain winning the first 2 gold medals this afternoon. I'm just putting it out there as somebody who could tip out the big 4. But imagine that, we've got 2 Olympic medalists, the only 2 ever Olympic medalists in this sport, in lanes 8 and 9, and we are underway. Let's see who does get the best of the start. She's had such a great weekend, Ludmila Luzan, but so's the Cuban, Cirilo Du Bois. I'm not sure that Nevin Harrison is race fit, ready to go yet, but let's see how she goes. But look at that, Ludmila Luzan is out in front. Also up there we have Sophia Jensen as well, and next to her the other Ukrainian, the second Ukrainian, Irina Fedorov. Could we have a Ukrainian first and second? It's Ludmila Luzan in the lead at the moment. Everyone else is trying to get to her, but she looks like she's going further ahead. It's Luzan. Katie Vincent is a bit of a threat down here on the bottom of the course, but Ludmila Luzan, what a performance. She takes the gold. Cirilo Du Bois gets the silver, and maybe the Ukrainian Fedorov gets the bronze, but that is, for a race that should have been much closer than that, an extraordinary performance from Ludmila Luzan. She has come to Szeged in some sort of form this weekend, having already picked up medals, and she adds the women's Olympic event of the 200 metres to her booty this weekend. What a performance from Ludmila Luzan.
From the first stroke right through to the last, she absolutely controlled that race, and you know, she's the current world champion. She's obviously one to beat this weekend, and I'm sure everyone's she's gonna have a target on her back for the rest of the year, if not the rest of the Olympic cycle, that's for sure. You can see how much power she's able to put into that stroke. She's got eyes for the finish line. You're just trying to get there, obviously, as fast as you can, but making sure that you're making no mistakes. I think maybe, Du Bois in for the silver medal, and as we see the stop-start here, Du Bois for the silver and Fedorov, I think, for the bronze from Ukraine. So 2 Ukrainians on the podium. Their team's going to be very, very happy with that, heading home this weekend and looking towards the second World Cup next weekend in Brandenburg. They'll take a lot of confidence from that race, I'm sure.
Let's have a look how they finished up there, and Nevin Harrison, I mean, it is going to be a long road back for her. Don't forget, she missed all of last season, so you would expect that it's going to take a little while for her to reach peak racing fitness, but can't take anything away from Ludmila Luzan.
Unstoppable machine, the top winner of Ligue 1 with 12 titles, is heading towards a new conquest. Every week, all season long, on beIN Sports.
I just want to say one thing about... It's one thing, at least, to come out here and win and to perform like they win, but also considering what's going on in their home country and what's been happening there for some time, to be able to stay focused. I mean, for athletes from other parts of the world, the biggest worry you've got to have is whether you're going to get your breakfast on time in the morning. You know, these athletes are in countries where, you know, it's so much happening which is distracting them and terrible for them to deal with, and they get out here and they're managing to compete. I guess it's a good distraction for them. As we look now to the men's, wow, licking my lips with anticipation for this one, the men's K1 500, and let's have a look in lane 1. We've got the Argentinian Agustin Venice. In lane number 2, we've got Alex Graneri from Spain. Right next to him, Josef Dostal missed the 1,000-metre final yesterday, but he's the world champion in this distance from Czechia. Lane number 4, representing Serbia, we have Zarko Jakedlovic. In lane number 5, Thorben Rusk from Denmark. He's had a good weekend already. Then the Australian, Jean van der Westhausen in lane number 6 in the canary yellow. In lane number 7, representing the AIN, Makita Bokyai. In lane number 8, Adam Varga. Which Adam Varga are we going to see in this final? And then in lane number 9, he's from Hungary, of course, lane number 9 from Serbia, Branko Legancic. Josef Dostal and Adam Varga. I mean, these two have had so many races against each other. Then you throw in Van der Westhausen, you throw in Thorben Rusk. It's a very, very good A final. Gold medal race in the men's K1 500.
Certainly going to be a tight one, that's for sure. The podium last year at Worlds was Dostal, Varga, Graneri. They're all in this race. Dostal and Varga, though, not quite on form if we're looking at the K1000 from yesterday. So let's see if they're able to have a bit of a better showing in this K1 500-metre race. Van der Westhausen, like you said, he's probably one to watch. He's got a few Olympic medals in the K2 500-metre event, now lining up in the K1 500-metre event as they're often racing now. That's lane 4, that's our Serbian. He's had a brilliant start. You can see Dostal just in the back of the screen. He's never one to come out of the gates flying, but he's always one to watch at the end of a race, and that is Jean van der Westhausen in lane 6 in the yellow. He's from Australia. He's had a beautiful start, as has lane 2. That's Alex Graneri from Spain. He was your bronze medalist last year at the World Championship, so he knows how to race these races, and I'm sure he's very confident in his race plan. Lane 1, Augustin Bernice, who's a name we see a lot of right across the K1 field, and they're going head-to-head right now, maybe working together a little bit at the top of the course as we come through the 250-metre mark.
It is the Australian Van der Westhausen in front. Graneri from Spain. Where's Dostal? Where's Varga? They are lurking. They are lurking with intent. Westhausen, though, still leads, and it's going to be a big splash for the finish here. Westhausen holding on at the moment. Now Dostal is starting to push his way through. You can see him there, the big man in the blue. Look at him edging up alongside Venice, Westhausen, and look at Dostal, and look at Adam Varga as well coming through. So Westhausen still holding on. He's doing his best, but Dostal throwing everything at him. It's Australia, it's Czechia, it's Hungary. The Hungarian Varga down the bottom of the screen. Westhausen in the middle. He's lifting again, the Australian. He's really found an extra gear as he gets down to the finish line. He's going to get the win. John Westhausen gets the win over Adam Varga and Josef Dostal. There's a couple of big names, a couple of big scalps to clip on your belt when you get on that flight back to Australia. For Jean van der West, I'll say, what do you got on your belt there, young man? He'll say, I've got the scalps of Josef Dostal and Adam Varga. Can I get them through customs? No, you can't. What a great win there for the Australian. It looked at the halfway stage, at least, that he was going to get headed, and that was the moment when he found an extra gear.
Absolutely, he'll be very happy with that. He had last season off, to take a bit of a rest, and he's back on the international scene, this year, and obviously making every post a winner. That was a beautiful race. Yeah, like you said, it did look like he was getting a little bit swallowed up through the middle there, but his turn of speed, the way he was able to lift his stroke rate in that last 100 metres, that's something that all the kids back home should be watching and taking note of. He was able to put a boat length on people like Josef Dostal and Adam Varga. I mean, that is absolutely no mean feat in these K1 races. I mean, Jean is a very, very good paddler, obviously. He's a double Olympic medalist, but not in the K1 traditionally, so he'll be very happy with that one. You see the nice little claim there, a great first international weekend of racing back for him. He was on the podium for the K4 yesterday, in the gold medal position today in the K1 500 there with Adam Varga, and here we have confirmation of the results. That's 135.81, very close to the world's best. I think the world's best is maybe low 135. So Jean van der Westhausen, Adam Varga, Joseph Dostal.
The 2026-27 French Ligue 2 season promises the toughest road to the top. Ligue 2, the road back to the elite, returns in August, exclusively on beIN Sports.
As we look ahead now to the men's C2 500, of course, this is an Olympic event. And in lane 1, we have the Poles, the Kachutskis, Alexander and Julius. Lane 2, the Spaniards, Fontan and Dominguez. Lane 3, the Hungarians, Fejez and Hajdu. Lane 4, representing the AIN, Korovashkov and Asnov. In lane 5, the Spaniards. Gee, they've got some depth in this race, the Spaniards. Grijalba and Sierra will go from lane 5. Lane 6, Petrov and Still. They were so impressive this morning in the semi-final. Lane 7, the Brazilians, Asensio Nascimento and Godman will go from lane 7. Lane 8, the Fuchses, Martin and Peter in lane number 8. And in lane number 9, the People's Lane, and could it be a race for the People's Lane with the Olympians, Gabriel Casadilla and Carlo Tacchini coming at the in lane 9 on the extreme outside. But this is such a hotly contested race. The AIN crew of Petrov and Still, the Spaniards, the Italians, the Hungarians, of course. I would not like to try and pick a winner here before they even have a stroke, Elise.
No, I think you're absolutely right with that, Ross. I mean, even, lane 8 and lane 9, typically you'd say they might not be up towards the pointy end of a race, but they are some very formidable paddlers in those two boats at the bottom of the screen. So, like you said, I think maybe the Spanish crew, lane 2, lane 6 is the AIN, lane 8, lane 9, Czech and Italy, as they're often racing now, and that's our crew of the AIN there. That's Petrov and Still on screen. They're the current world champions. They just look so calm, cool and collected through their stroke. They're sitting at a lot lower stroke rate than everyone else in that white boat in the middle, and wow, that is a tight field. That's lane 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Doesn't matter where you'd call it now, there'd be a different winner every single time, but it might look like maybe the yellow boat, that's the AIN, starting to edge forward. In fact, it's both AIN boats are starting to edge in front of the field, maybe a quarter of a boat length in front as we move into the 250 metre and the halfway mark of the race.
It is AIN 1 and 2 at the moment. It is Koroveshkov and Arsenov just ahead of Petrov and Still. Maybe the Spaniards, Grijalbi and Sierra, maybe sitting in third, but it is so close. It's Koroveshkov and Arsenov. They lead the race from Petrov and Still. Now Petrov and Still are making a bit of a move. Look at that. They've now got their noses in front, and they look like they're putting a bit of distance. The Spaniards in the middle coming through. That's Grijalbi and Sierra. Where are the Italians? They're a little way back at the moment. So it is at the moment, it is Petrov and Still ahead of Koroveshkov and Arsenov. It's going to be AIN 1 and 2 by the look of things. It is at the moment Petrov and Still. They're coming down to the finish line. Petrov and Still back up their very good form from earlier on this weekend. The Italians flying home now, and they're going to snatch second. That is one heck of a finish there in the people's lane for Italy. They absolutely flew home to grab the silver. But no doubt at all about our winners, Zakhar Petrov and Ivan Still. The Italians, well, they maybe in the people's lane they were able to sneak under everyone else's guard, but they've got up there just asking each other, how do we go? Do we get the win? I think they just fell just short. I think it is the AIN crew of Petrov and Still who got the win, maybe, and the Italians second, and maybe the second AIN crew held on for third. Elise.
Yeah, brilliant race from Petrov and Still there. I mentioned at the start of the race in that first 100 metres, they're just so calm, and you can waste a lot of energy if you pull your stroke rate up too high or you try and get too excited about getting some camera time off the start of a race, and it's all about obviously who crosses the line first. And such a calm, cool and collected race by then. And like I said, the Italians in second on this far side, a brilliant finish for them, and then the Brazilians in third as we just see the slow-mo of the finish now. A couple of people falling out. You don't want that at the end of a race. You're trying to catch your breath as best you can already, and to try and add swimming and surviving on top of that, that's not a very fun thing to do. And the Italians there, very happy with that performance, as is our winners on screen there, the AIN Petrov and Still in the white boat with the white shirts. They are just so consistent. And I mean, you hear in other sports, skills pay the bills. I think in a kayak and canoe racing, it's all about consistency pays the bills. And these guys know exactly how to do that, as we see the confirmation of the results now. 1:35.90 is the winning time there.
Halfway through a thrilling season, the Premier Paddle Bordeaux, from June 30th through July 5th, live on beIN Sports Extra and beIN Sports Connect.
All right, let's now turn our attention to the men's K2 500, and this is as well an Olympic sport. And let me just run through this field here because it is mighty impressive. So in lane 1, we've got the Germans, Florstedt and Bukowski. In lane 2, the Spaniards, Aiden Garcia Ruiz. There he is. There's the Spaniards, Aiden and Garcia Ruiz in lane number 2. In lane number 3, representing Slovakia, we have Samuel Balaz and Adam Botek. Next to them, in lane number 4, the Olympic champions, no less, Jakob Schoff and Max Lemke in the eye-catching pink boat. And then the Portuguese champions, they are really one of the form boats in the world and have been for a couple of seasons now. Joao Ribeiro and Matthias Baptista. In lane number 6, we had the Poles, Jajinek and Vichev. Lane number 7, the Hungarians, Kuritz and Fodor. Lane number 8, Litvinov and Yermolenko. There they are in lane number 8. And in lane number 9, the new Australian combination of Thomas Green and Noah Havard. So watch out for the Germans and the Portuguese in the middle of the field. They are really two top-class combinations.
They absolutely are, and they've got a lot of runs on the board over a fair few seasons, so they know how to race these races, and they're very confident in their race plan. That's the Portuguese crew on the screen there. They're fast out of the start. They set up the boat well, and you've got lane 7 as well, the Hungarians. One of them was on the podium or won the Worlds last year. A bit of a change in crew, but a lot of experience in that boat as well, as we see lane 4, lane 5, lane 7, Germany, Portugal, Hungary. We expected to see them out of the front, as is Australia down here in lane 9. That's Tom Green and Noah Havard. As we move through to the middle of the race, 250-metre mark, it looks like 2 races in one, 4 and then 5 in the race at the moment.
It is Germany in front. Australia in the people's lane in lane 9 are up there. Can they hold the race together, though, for the 500 metres? They struggled this morning to finish off, but it's the Olympic champions, Germany in front. Where is Portugal? They'll start to make their move now, but it's still the Germans of Schoff and Lemke in front. The Australians trying to hold on, but Germany is now putting a bit of space between themselves and the rest of the field, as they should do. They're Olympic champions, for goodness sake. Schoff and Lemke coming down now with some clear water between themselves and the rest of the field. The battle for second is looking pretty strong. The Germans now maybe just tightening up a little bit. And look at this finish here coming from Hungary. The Hungarians racing through. Can Germany hold on? It's going to be tight. Oh, I think they... Well, what was happening there? The Hungarian combination of Kuritz and Fodor. Absolutely. They put the spinnaker up with 50 metres to go. They got the wind behind them. The Germans were tightening up over that last 100 metres. You could see they were just lacking that speed. It just like they hit the Berlin Wall there for a little while and they were going nowhere. And the Hungarians have absolutely come from the clouds. It's a photo finish. I think the Hungarians might have just tipped out the Germans, but we're going to need the magnifying glass to split these two. But what a finish.
They certainly had the speed carrying through the line, the Hungarians, and I mean it really depends on exactly where that line is on that finish. Hard to tell until we slow it down and superimpose the finish line into it and look at those photo finishes. But wow, what a race. The Germans, Schoff and Lemke, tightening up a lot in that finish. Maybe the Germans, I don't know. I'm going to leave that to the judges. I don't feel like we need to make a call on that, Ross, but here we go.
Germany just.
Germans. Yes.
The Germans just. The Germans, I think, by the width of Max Lemke's beard, I reckon, has got the win, I think. But we have to wait and see. There you go. Maybe if he was at the front of the boat and his beard was hanging over the front of the boat, that would have helped. But I reckon the Germans have got there by a millimetre, maybe. Let's wait for confirmation. Oh, yes, just. My goodness. 0.04, Elise. That's tight.
The ultimate camaraderie, where skill meets intensity. Welcome to the Knockout Room. MMA, karate, wrestling, bare knuckle boxing, and much more. The Knockout Room, only on beIN Sports.
We've got 2 more World Cups after this one, and of course the World Championships later on this year in Poznan in Poland, and I can't wait. I mean, I don't want to wish my life away, but we've only got a few sleeps to go until we all turn up in Brandenburg for World Cup number 2, and if this weekend's been anything to go by, it is going to be such an intense weekend in Germany. But let's look ahead now to the women's C4 500. And again, as I mentioned yesterday when we had the men's C4, it's very hard to get a line through the form going to this because there's no heats, there's no semi-finals. At least in this race, they're not all in white boats. They've got a bit of colour out there, which is great. So in lane 1, we've got a crew from China. Lane 2, a crew from the AIN. In lane 4, lane 2 was China, lane 3 AIN, lane 4 Hungary, lane 5 a second Chinese crew, lane 6 will be Poland, and lane 7 a second Hungarian crew. So we've got 2 Hungarian boats, 2 Chinese boats, an AIN crew and a Polish crew. Yeah, I'm not even going to try and predict a winner here, although the Hungarians, they've got 8 pretty strong athletes there. I'm interested to know how they came about deciding who would be in which boat. But I love this. It's sort of like It's not an Olympic event, the women's C4, but it really does show off the depth in some of these countries, Elise, of how much canoe paddling they've got.
It absolutely does as they come out of the start gates here. I think the Hungarian crew closest to us is the current world champions, so keep an eye on them. They're on the outside. I'm sure they would have liked to have been in the middle of everyone, but they'll be running their own race out in lane 7 closest to the camera. The Chinese crew, we've seen it time and time and time again today, have shot out of the gates. I don't know what they're doing in China, but they have really improved on all of their starts, no matter what boat they're racing in, K1, C1, C4s, C2s, whatever it is, they're out in front, and you can see some beautiful timing there in the Chinese crew. They're starting to settle into their race now and try and get as much force down on the blade as they can and lunge that boat forward. And don't these C4 boats have a solid lunge and surge forward in every stroke they take? There's a lot of power produced by each of the 4 of these girls and each of the boats as we move through. It's clearly China from Hungary from the second Chinese crew.
Yeah, a lot of coordination involved as well. Look at that perfect rhythm there for the Chinese in front. They are looking very smooth. All you need is one athlete to get it slightly wrong and it can throw everything on its head. But at the moment, it's China in front of Hungary. The second Chinese boat currently sitting in third, but there's a boat length difference now between China and Hungary. Good race for third. The second, there's a crew there from the AIN who's hanging about the place and causing a bit of a nuisance value at the moment for the second Hungarian crew. But it is at the moment China in front. Maybe a bit of a race now between the 2 Hungarian crews for second. The angle is a little bit deceiving though. It is definitely China who's going to come down and take the win ahead of the Hungarian crew. So China, Li, Yang, Sun and Ma. Gee, there's some big names in that Chinese combination. They finished ahead of Kiss, Nagy, Obavsky and Chorba from Hungary, and then the second Chinese boat of Teng, Jiang, Shui and Lin will take the bronze medal. Always entertaining, always exciting to see the women's C4, and what a great race that was, and congratulations to the Chinese who just seem to keep on keeping on and getting great results.
They absolutely are, and I mean, I said it in that race, but something's going on in China with their starts. They have made some incredible improvements to the speed of their starts and how fast they're able to get out of those blocks and carry their speed through as well. And I think that's the key. You can obviously have a good start. International scene have great starts out of the gates, but it's all about capitalising on that speed and really translating that into some solid boat run, and these girls have been able to do that. And like you said, some big names in this boat, so I guess not so surprising to see them put together a really, really good performance, but obviously not an event we see too often on the program. So exciting to see the girls take the water in the C4 500 metres as we just see the finish line there, and the girls cross the line. A very, very strong performance and clear win from the Chinese crew, and we love to see it, and I can't wait to see this event again next weekend in Brandenburg for World Cup 2. Like you said, only a few sleeps away, and it'll be interesting to see how the athletes recoup and make their way back to a second World Cup back to back. I mean, some athletes are, and I say this with a grain of salt, but fitter than others. Everyone's fit out there, obviously, especially comparatively to the average punter, but a weekend of racing does take it out of you, and so it'll be interesting to see who's able to back up the best. So confirmation there, China, Hungary, China, 1:44.65 is the winning time there, and potentially a world's best time, I think. I'm not sure. I keep pulling out these stats and I don't want to be the one to claim it, but I think that is a world's best time for the Chinese crew as well.
We have one more final to go, and what a finale it's going to be, because this is a race very close to the heart of my co-commentator here, Elise Wood. She's done more K2 races than she dares to think about, and look at the final here, the lineup here. There's a few athletes here who you've raced against over the years. Let's look at lane 1, probably the most experienced combination in this race, the Belgians Hermine Peters and Liz Brox. In lane 2, They're getting better every year. The Dutch, Selma Konyan and Ruth Vosselman. Lane 3, the Chinese, Nan Wang and Siyu Shen. In lane 4, the very impressive Germans, Paulina Pazak and Pauline Jacks. In lane 5, we wanted to know why Lucrezia Zaroni took a foot off the pedal earlier on. This is why she's there with Giada Rossetti from Italy. Lane 6, the Spaniards, Val and Pardo. Lane 7, a second Spanish boat, Garcia Otero and Garcia Zabaliga. In lane number 8, the Poles, Dominika Puto and Adriana Kakol. And then in the outside lane, the Slovenians Mia Medved and Anja Apollinio.
Yeah, well, a lot of experience in this race here, Ross, but also a lot of young and exciting energy as well. I'm not sure who I'd pick. Maybe the Germans in lane 4. They've been on the podium, I think, last year, and maybe one of them was on, I think Paulina Pazak was on the podium in Paris in a K2 with a different paddler. So they're off and racing now. The Chinese out like a bullet, like we've seen time and time again this weekend. The Spanish crew in lane 7 as well. They're side by side. Lane 6 and lane 7 are our 2 Spanish crews. Lane 8, the Polish crew, Puto and Kakol. We're going to see them right through this race. The Polish girls really know how to stick it out right through a 500-metre race. So at the moment, it looks like China from Germany, from Spain, from Poland. It's a very, very tight race. And at the moment, I think the Germans are looking the most controlled. They know how to run the boat. Their boat looks nice and smooth as we hit the 250-metre and the halfway point of the race.
In fact, the Germans are now taken over in the lead, so they've taken over and they're going to throw down the challenge to the rest of the field. They are very, very impressive. Paulina Pazak, Pauline Jacks. Who's going to come after them, though? It's Germany in front. The Polish crew are trying to pull them back with every stroke, but it's Germany in front at the moment. They look like they're putting a bit of distance between themselves and the Chinese in the lane next to them. So it's Germany in front of China. Maybe one of the Spanish crews now moving into third, or Poland. It's a good race for third. But look at this German crew. This is very, very impressive for Germany. What a day they're having. Paulina Pazak and Pauline Jacks. They're coming down to the finish line now. There's more than a boat length between themselves and the rest of the field. And flying home down here on the bottom of the course to grab second. It looks like it's going to be the Polish crew. The Polish crew, are going to grab second. But what a race there for Pazak and Jacks. Just really a very well measured race from start to finish. Dominika Puto recently became a mum. I tell you what, that's going to be something you get excited about in the Puto household tonight, with Kakol getting the silver medal. And third, well, it was very, very close. Maybe the Spaniards maybe just held on for third, but you can take nothing away from our gold medalists. It was a very well measured race.
It certainly was, and they're such a formidable crew together. Their timing is beautiful. You can see their boat rocking side to side, but rocking in the right way, as many coaches would say, the Chinese crew on screen. But our German crew of Pazak and Yauch just looking beautiful as they cross the line there. A nice little claim. Like I said, the Polish crew in second, and Dominika Puto, happy Mother's Day to you, and what a great Mother's Day it is for her to be back on the podium and back at international racing. She's had a brilliant performance there, but wow, a boat length in front on the world stage. I mean, that is an exceptional performance in a really, really tough field as well. Some strong crews, they know it. They know how special that win is, and you don't get wind by this much that often. And, you know, to be honest as well, I think that the K2 500 field in the women, it's had a lot of changes in the last few years. You know, a lot of people have retired, or there's been crew changes, or had a season off, and so we're just starting to see some crews start to cement themselves as we move towards the LA Olympics. So confirmation there, 1:36.92. I'd hazard a guess as that's close to a PB for them. Poland in second to round out or to be on the podium for the silver medal.
beIN Sports Extra, your home for free sports 24/7. The best soccer leagues and tournaments on demand, combat sports, and much more. beIN Sports Extra.
And we can already see the men on the starting line, or the women, I should say, on the starting line, K1 5,000 meters. There is a big lineup in this event also here today. We have, I think, 30 boats on the start line. We can see there Melina Anderson. She's the world champion from this event last year. So we've got 27 boats here on the start line, and they're getting ready. They're under starters' orders now. Emma, who are you looking forward to seeing in this, or who would you think will be the top contenders?
Oh, I think it's going to be really exciting, Jen. I think I'm just really, really excited to see the youngest paddler at this World Cup, Dashuvinic from Uzbekistan. She's only 14 and she's had an incredible weekend so far. She came sixth in the B final of the 1,000 metres, so it's exciting to see her out there in this field. You know, we've just got some really, really impressive talent out there. I think Rendesi from Hungary is going to be in with a shout of the medals. She looks impressive at this distance, but I think it's going to be quite even. Apart from that, we've obviously got Anderson from Sweden, but I think it could be anyone else fighting it out for that last spot on the podium.
Yeah, don't overlook Kohalmi there. She is a multiple medalist. She's world champion in this event from before. Also, as you can see, there's so many waves and washes there as everyone's trying to get into that front group. And we can see Melina Anderson very comfortable up on that side wash. Also, Begana Lazcano from Spain is right up there. And over this side of the race course, I think it is Kohalmi making her way up to the front group to her teammate from Hungary. That is also Esther Giulia Rendesi out there in front in the pink boat. There's going to be a lot of changing of the washes now as they approach this first turning point. You want to be as far up in that front group as possible. We can also see Franziska Widmar doing a great race there. She's in a second V-wash of the front group in a good position. Also, the Czechia athlete is right up there as well. That is Malova, Katerina Malova, well established. She was an under-23 medalist in marathon, so she's got great experience under her belt when it comes to wash hanging. There's Rendesi. She's leading it out. She means business today. She's got Kohalmi, her teammate, on her left-hand side as we look at it, the right-hand side. And then also we have Melina Anderson from Sweden, who is the current world champion.
Yeah, there's not a lot of space, is there? We saw in the C1 races a few minutes ago that it was tight when they're all closely packed together. Even tighter for the kayaks, Jen, isn't it? Because they've got this double-bladed paddle, so they're going to have to get the blade in both sides. So it is really, really tight. But that also means that they've got a chance to be on that wash. We talked about the wash hanging, that it can give them an advantage and help them save, you know, quite a substantial chunk of energy if they can get it right. But it comes with a gamble, doesn't it? You're too close and you might get disrupted or touch their boat. Your paddle might the water might get taken away from your paddle. It can be really, really messy. But these athletes are experienced and they'll be hunting out that good water to try and make it cleanly through. But it's going to be definitely a very tense first portage for all of these athletes. That's a big group coming down. They're going to hit that pontoon at the same time. So I guess right now they're thinking, do I go left? Do I go right? They'll have a preferred side, but all the time your brain is thinking, do I go my preferred side or do I go where there's more space? And that can be confusing, can't it, if you've got that indecision in your brain.
Yeah, you have to be able to make decisions at the last moment, you know, and adapt. And that's why most of these athletes would have practiced the portage on both sides. Of course, they would have a side that they prefer, but under circumstances where they can't choose, it's best to practice both sides. But we can see now Gohalmi, very strong athlete, she's coming into the pontoon. She's getting out that the pontoon is on her right side. And also Katerina Malova doing a great job there, getting out of the pontoon. And we have Rendesi here with Melina Anderson and Begoña Lascano from Spain. So they're the top 5 athletes at the moment. They're being chased down by a big pack. We've got Francisca Widmer there. We've got Caroline Hooser also chasing down. We've got Melissa Johnson coming into the portage, along with Norwegian athlete Anna Sletjo, who's a bronze medalist last year at the World Championships. Should be wanting to try and make her way up there. But Melina Anderson and Katerina Malova are away safely in first and second from the first portage.
Really close, really great to see. No clashes really, those athletes getting themselves away despite the fact there's a lot of them all together. It's very, very crowded there, but we'll get a shot in a minute of the racers at the front of this 5,000 metres to give you a bit of an update. Some of the athletes struggling just there at the back of the pack, but they're now getting themselves away and back up and running. And those boats, when you're not moving, those boats are really, really unstable, aren't they, Jen? It's much easier when you can get moving. But that's your leading group there. And I think it's Belova from Czechia that is leading it at the minute. But she's got Anderson from Sweden and Rendesi from Hungary also alongside her for company. And they're possibly, Jen, sitting just on that wash we were talking about. Tell us a bit more about the wash.
Yeah, so in a 5,000 metre race, wash hanging is very important. It's very tactical. You can conserve as much as 10 to 15% by sitting on the side wash, and approximately around 25% by sitting in that V wash, which is where we see the Spanish athlete now sitting in this V wash just behind Katerina Malova's boat. So, you know, if I was in that situation and you were feeling comfortable, you want to, Melina Anderson is doing the right thing. She's sitting on a side wash. She doesn't need to expend energy at this moment. She's saving it for later when she might need to make a break coming towards the finish. But maybe Katerina Malova is feeling quite comfortable now. So for those people who aren't familiar with wash hanging, it's very similar to the draft mechanism in cycling. So in cycling, you can sit behind a competitor and you're able to conserve energy as well.
Yeah, you can see there Milova just coming up to that blue donut turn buoy. Anderson's looking incredibly comfortable, just choosing to sit there, bide her time, never ever discount her. She is just settling in and letting some of the others do the work at the minute. And you can see there around the buoy, the Hungarian Rendesi had to stop paddling, so that's going to cost her. You can see her boat fall away from the Czechia athlete. The Spanish athlete got a better line and is possibly now pushing on the outside to come up into that third position. So not always an advantage to take the tightest line, because that meant that she got a bit boxed in. She couldn't get her paddle in the water and she had to almost put the brakes on before she could get started again. Great to see this other second pack chasing down the leaders at the minute. It's got athletes from all all over the globe in it, including Melissa Johnson from Great Britain. But really great to see there. We've got Kolami from Hungary and Fernandez from Spain on the outside. Anderson is on the left-hand side of the screen. Milova has just dropped back a little tiny bit there, and the other Spaniard on the left, Lozano, is also in the mix as well. So it's a really close fight at the second portage between these 6 boats.
Yeah, absolutely. These top 6 boats are coming into this first portage. None of them are going to want to lose any ground. As we can see, Katerina had to kind of come back around there because she knew there wasn't going to be any space for her. But we can see Kohalmi coming in nice and cleanly on the right-hand side of the portage as we look. And Melina Anderson is out cleanly also. So a big group here of athletes as they come through the second portage of 5. Melina Anderson is always very smooth at getting back into her boat and can gain a lot of time on that. Katerina doing a great job there, staying with the lead group. And that is Estefania Fernandez has made her way back up to the front group as well. So that's a great job by her. She's also a previous world champion in this event, multiple medalist. So she's definitely one to look out for. And there's a big group, obviously, of 6 of them fighting for those top 3 positions. So it's going to be all down to the finish line. So they've done 2 portages of 5.
Yeah, and it's still just as closely fought out in the rest of the group. This is the group in the middle of the field, the chasing group, trying to close that gap on the current leaders, but they're still very closely packed together, all these women looking to try and find an advantage on the portage. Some athletes choosing to carry their boat low and kind of bump it along. You've got to be careful of the rudder, though. Some athletes choosing to put it up really high, and that's just a personal preference. The athletes will have worked on that in their training to know what suits them best, and again, they'll just have to be flexible. I don't think I'd be bumping it along though, Jen, not with that rudder. I feel like that could end your race if you get that wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to be very careful, but sometimes when fatigue sets in and you're trying to be as coordinated as possible, and oh no, we've got a swimmer, that's lane 5, lane 15, Tamachisheva from Uzbekistan. She's going to have to try and get her boat, bring it back into the pontoon. She's going to lose a lot of time here, but she's doing a good job of swimming back in, and she'll have to get out and try and get back into the boat. But that's heartbreaking for her, but she's gotten in very quickly, so well done to her. She just needs to get her paddles now and get away from the pontoon cleanly this time. So she'll be very frustrated, I'm sure, to have done that, but she can still try and gain some time.
It was just a great example, Jen, of just not having enough space. She couldn't get her paddle in. We talked about how these boats are unstable. They're definitely unstable if you're stationary. So she just couldn't get the momentum in that boat to help her get away from that wobbly water by the pontoon. So, yeah, she's taken a swim, but she'll be back in her boat and back in the race as soon as possible. And it looks like the leading group there, we've got Anderson from Sweden leading it out now from, is it Rendesi from Hungary? Just looking like she is holding on to second spot at the minute, but they've still got Fernandez. It's Kolami from Hungary, apologies, it's Anderson from Sweden, Kolami from Hungary. We've then got Fernandez and Lozano from Spain fighting it out with Milova from Czechia in that group. So we've lost Rendesi off the back of that group. So we've got Sweden, Hungary, Spain and Czechia in this fighting group at the front of the race, looking to try and find any chance to stretch their lead away and make a bit of a break for it. You can see how bubbly and bumpy the water is there, Jen. I think as a para-canoe athlete that isn't the most stable, this looks utterly terrifying.
Yeah, it's very bouncy and unstable there, but these women are well used to it at the top of their game here. The 5,000 metres, just the waves that happen because the shorter laps can be very unsettling, but if you're smart, you can try and use them to your advantage as well, and try and use them like as a wash if you can try and catch some of the waves. But here we are, coming in to their third portage of 5. Kahalmi coming in very cleanly, followed by Estefania Fernandez. Begona Lascano trying to get her boat in. We've got Melina Anderson here on the left-hand side of the jetty as we look at it. And they're all running very cleanly. Melina looks very comfortable, doesn't look to be under any stress. Begano Lascano looks to be suffering a little bit at the back there, along with Katerina Milova. We can see now Melina is back into her boat safely and easily. That's the third portage done of 5. Is she going to try and make a break for it here? And then we can see Anna Slestjo from Norway getting out. Caroline Huser also. Francisca Widmer, followed by Melissa Johnson. And they're trying to chase down the front pack on this third portage. And we can see the Chinese athlete kind of struggling just to get herself into the pontoon. We see Pernille also there from Denmark running well on the portage. She's an under-23 world champion from last year in marathon. We see the Slovakian athlete getting back into her boat cleanly there. Well, hopefully we'll get a shot now of the front group to see if Melina has broken away, but there's Melissa Johnson getting back into her boat along with Francisca Widmer and Pernille from Denmark.
Yeah, and that was a really great example, Jen, wasn't it, of the portage and how important it is. Melissa Johnson holding her line, holding her space, being really aggressive with that move into the portage to keep the Chinese athlete out, and that has given her a chance to extend her lead on the Chinese athlete. But those are your leaders. We've got Melina Anderson from Sweden being chased hard by Kalami from Hungary. She's already got a silver medal in the 1,000 metres, so she's having a great weekend. We know she's in form, but how much has that cost her? How much has that taken out of her for this 5,000 metres? She's at the minute fighting with Melina Anderson for the gold medal. In third place, it was Fernandez, I think, from Spain, and the other Spaniard, Lascano, is also in the mix still with Milova from Czechia. But the leaders were just stretching their lead out in front of the pack, as we just see the athletes towards the back of the field doing that portage and getting back in their boats to paddle off on yet another lap. And they're the leaders there. They are, Jen. Sweden, Hungary and Spain fighting it out for the top 3 places.
Yeah, these top 3 athletes have actually all been world champions in the K1 5,000 metres over the last 3 years. I know Kahalmi won in 2021. Estefania Fernandez won it in 2023. Melina Anderson won it last year, so you know they all want that gold medal, I'm sure, here today. So there's 3 of them. They know that if they stay away, they're safely on the podium. They have a chasing group behind them. I don't think they're going to chase them down, though, at this point. They've obviously dropped back a bit. That's Katerina Milova and Begona Lascona. But here's this Uzbekistan athlete. She had an unfortunate swim on the last portage, but she's continuing on, so well done to her. She needs to be careful now that the athletes behind don't catch her, because she will have to retire then. But here we have it, the top 3 athletes coming in, and Begona Lascona and Katerina Milova are not too far behind. The 3 athletes in front need to make sure that they don't make any mistakes on this portage, because it could cost them dearly a medal if they do. But here we have it coming into the 4th portage of 5.
Yeah, and keep your eyes on Melina Anderson if you can. There's such a calmness to how she portages, even when there's other athletes around her. Whether it's from her marathon background, Jen, or she's just really experienced and practiced at these portages. It's a shame we didn't get to see her there, but she is so calm. I think she tends to put a bit of distance on her competitors at every portage, and it's just in that efficiency and that smoothness of her exit from the boat and then getting back into the boat. So you can see it there. It's almost one fluid movement, and that is not easy to do, to step into your boat when they're so wobbly, sit down and start paddling all in what looks like one action. And I think you can really see the difference between her and the rest of the field potentially in those portages, so it plays into her strengths.
Yeah, it definitely makes a difference if you can do it all in one movement as Melina Anderson does there. She's known for her clean exits and entries on the portage, and it definitely makes a big difference to the time she can make up on them. So she definitely got away cleanly there. Kohalmi is very strong on the water. I said before she won it in 2021, but she also won it in 2022. So, you know, she's very strong on the water part. Will she be able to catch up to Melina Anderson now? We'll have to see. Kohalmi also has Estefania Fernandez with her. They look to have fallen back a bit. Melina is trying to make a break now. She's got one more portage to go, so she knows that she can try and stay away here. Will the women be able to catch her down? I'm not sure. Stefania Fernandez is looking like she's trying to. If they work together, possibly Kohalmi and Fernandez, they could possibly catch Anderson. But Anderson loves being in this position. She loves being out in front. She loves leading and getting away from the rest of the pack.
Yeah, she's in a very strong position there, and I do think that just shows the importance of that skill set she's got. Not only is she a phenomenal paddler, but that ability to just make it a fluid motion there. And if you look at these athletes here getting back in, not quite as smooth, not quite as efficient as Melina Anderson, and that's going to slow them down, whereas she has given herself the chance to extend this lead there, and she's looking really comfortable. You'd have to be brave, Jen, to bet against Melina Anderson bringing this home for another gold medal in this 5,000 metres.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think anyone would bet against her at this point. I think even if she does get caught by the two behind her, she's just so smooth on the portages that she can gain so much time on them. But here she is getting safely around the single turning point before she approaches the last portage of 5. So she'd be happy to get this last portage done. She'll know she'll only have one lap left and she'll be on the way to the home finish line.
And we've talked all weekend, haven't we, along with the other commentators, around the need to be relaxed, but also really, really precise in our sport. And I think you can see, we obviously can't tell what they're thinking from where we're watching, but you can almost see them relax when they get a little bit of a lead or a little bit of clean water. There is this sort of breath of air and their shoulders drop slightly, and it allows them to find that extra bit of rhythm and flow in their paddling. And I think that really, really helps with that efficiency of the boat. So it costs you less energy and the boat moves better through the water. So you can see that now, I think, with Anderson there. She just looks like she's been able to take a breath. She's got a bit of clear water between her and the chasing pack, and she can then just focus on that feeling. It's all about feeling, Jen, isn't it? The grip and the flow of the kayak. It's a beautiful boat to paddle.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, on the days that everything feels like it's come together, it's extra special. But I have to say, well done to Kohalmi and Fernandez there. They did a very good turn on that. They gained position on that as well. They were after gaining some distance to try and catch up to that first position. So that's the way of showing you that the turning point can really make a difference about how you approach it. So very good job by Kohalmi. She was able to really lock the rudder as she went around that buoy, and she looks on a mission here to catch up to Melina Anderson. Melina Anderson, though, is already back in the boat and she's approaching her final lap. Kohalmi is getting back into the boat now. Will she be able to catch back up on the water? It's a big ask at this stage because Melina Anderson loves being out in front. She loves being away. She's more than capable of staying away. We've seen that in the past. She looks very relaxed there. She's breathing well. As you said, a very fluent stroke, great leg drive, and very efficient. So she'll just be thinking, okay, so many meters to go, I can stay ahead. But Kohalmi is going to want to try and chase her down. But I think Kohalmi will be looking for the silver medal, with Fernandez might be the bronze, unless Fernandez has something left in the tank for that sprint finish at the end.
Yeah, it's looking comfortable, isn't it, there for Anderson? And we can see on the boats, Jen, some of the boats have got handles on them. That's to make them easier to carry, isn't it, for the portages?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're allowed to have handles on your boats. These boats are heavy as well. Don't forget they're 12 kilograms. And then there's water getting into the boats as you're racing. So, you know, the boat could weigh up to anything, you know, could be 3 or 4 kilograms more depending on how much weight of water you get in it. So you might see some athletes as they're running along the portage trying to empty at the same time to decrease the weight of their boat to make it lighter when they get back on the water. But there's no doubt about it here. Melina Anderson is taking it home. She's really stretching the lead now out in front. And some athletes choose to have handles. Some athletes choose not to have handles. I personally prefer having the handle. I think it's easier to grip the boat. Whereas if you don't have the handle, the grip is a lot smaller. It's a lot easier to drop the boat, which you don't want to do. You don't want to break the boat. You don't want to break the rudder. You don't want to slow down your race either. So I personally prefer having handles on my boat as well.
Yeah, and I guess one of the differences for people that are watching and joining us here on Planet Canoe's YouTube channel, one of the differences between the 5,000 metres in canoe sprint and the marathon distances, for example, is these boats aren't allowed pumps, are they? So they can have handles, but they're not allowed the pump system in the boat. So if these athletes come from a marathon background, they might be used to having a pump that would help them get rid of the water that builds up across the course of a race. But these athletes don't have that. So they've got to factor that in, like you say, to their race strategy. But as we are coming round that buoy down towards the final stretch of this race, it's going to be Anderson from Sweden that is leading us out. There's Milova and Lascano from Spain. They're going to be tussling it out, I think, for 4th and 5th, having been part of that leading pack. But there you are. Those are your 3 medalists there. We're just not quite sure of who's going to get the silver and who's going to get the bronze. What do you reckon, Jen? Fernandez looks like she might be biding her time, but surely the home crowd are worth an advantage for Kalami.
Yeah, I know. I've been on Kahalmi's watch coming towards the finish line. I know she has a very strong burn, so I'm sure she's probably going to start to rev it up here soon, and it'll be hard for Fernandez to get over that wash. You know, it's easier to win a sprint finish from a leading position because you don't have to try and climb the wash of your competitor. But no doubt about it here, Melina Anderson is coming home to claim the gold medal, but Kahalmi and Fernandez definitely made up some time again on that single buoy turn. So here we have it, Melina Anderson from Sweden coming home. She's going to take the gold medal here at the first Canoe Sprint World Cup in Szeged, Hungary. I'm sure she'll be very happy with that. And here we have it, Kahalmi is making her burn now. She's going for home. Estefania looks to be hurting on the wash. I don't think she's anything left, but there we have it. The World Cup gold medalist Melina Anderson, followed by Messi Kahalmi from Hungary and Estefania Fernandez from Spain.
That was amazing. I saw Fernandez just in the top of the screen. Looked like she put a burn on to try and do it, but she had nothing left. And Kalami just stepped it up and maintained that slight lead over the Spaniard. But I think she'll be happy with that. That's a solid race from her. Kalami picks up another medal for the home nation. It's a silver medal. It's not going to help them move up the table unless they can get a gold in our last race of the day. We'll talk about that in a moment or two. But here are 2 athletes coming down now, ready to finish. We've got Lotsji from Norway leading out. Ooh, Jen, who's that? Finland?
That's Slovakia, and I'll try and find her name, but that's Anna Sletjo from Norway coming in.
Oh, it's Sakova. It's Sakova. Sakova from Slovakia, fighting it out with Lotsji from Norway. Lotsji just gets it there, just ahead of the Slovakian paddler Sakova, coming home to score valuable points.
And we have Carolina Huser coming into the finish line here. She won a bronze medal in the K1 1000 metres yesterday, and she's followed by Melissa Johnson from Great Britain.
And any of these athletes that are in the top 10, Jen, so the 10th placed finisher will get 720 points in the world ranking. So that's a fair old whack. The winner will pick up 1,000. So it's not a big spread between first and 10th. So really important for these athletes to be finishing in that top 10. They do score points for the positions further on as well, but that's a really nice amount of points, isn't it, if you can get in the top 10?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, just to remember, any double ups, it'll only be one of the positions that'll be counted from that nation. So, for example, it'll be Kohalmi's position will be counted, whereas Rendesi's position won't be counted. So that even makes the competitors go up higher in the ranking points when there's double ups from countries.
And some great shots here of the women's K1 5,000 metres. Huge number of boats fighting it out, and it was really close for that first lap to 2 laps, where we had 2 big groups at the start, and the second group chasing them, all jostling for position. But it was the Swede, the fantastic Swede, hugely experienced in both marathon distances and here now in canoe sprint, looking that she is carrying on her form from 2025. It was an exceptional year for her, and she's carrying that on here by picking up a gold in this World Cup here in Szeged. Jen, I'm worried about that rope on the finish, on the final lap bell. That rope looked like it's going to give up. It looks like it's had a long weekend, and it looks like it's about to give up. So let's hope it's got one more race in it, because we've got the men's K1 5,000 metres coming up for you in about 7 minutes' time. So we'll grab a drink, make sure you join us there. But that was an epic performance from the flying Swede to take home the gold in this women's K1. Look at those biceps, that's what's done it. The Swede brings home the gold in the World Cup in Szeged.
Galatasaray, the 4-time consecutive champion, Fenerbahce, Trabzonspor, and Besiktas, the great rivals. The Turkish Super League returns in August, exclusively on beIN Sports.
don't leave us. Thank you for joining us here on Planet Canoe's YouTube channel. We've just got one race left for you here in World Cup 1 from the beautiful city of Szeged. The sun is shining. You can see there the K1 men are just finishing their warm-ups, and they'll be making their way down to where all those pink-shirted volunteers are waiting, and they'll be the ones that are lying face down on the pontoon to hold the back of these athletes' boats, to make sure that we all get away in a fair start. Now, this, Jen, is a hugely busy race, isn't it? We've got 45 men out there on the starting list due to be fighting it out. That, I think, is going to be messy. I'm hoping it's not going to be too chaotic, but I think it could be really, really interesting to see how they fight their way to that first turn buoy. Who are you excited about watching in this one?
Yeah, look, you can't overlook Mads Brandt Pedersen. He's multiple world champion in this event. He's definitely, I would say, probably the favourite going into it. He loves the portages in it, and he loves to break away and lead from the front. And also, John Amund Vold should be very good. He should be right up there at the front of the groups. But, you know, anything, Adrian Martin, also is from Spain, anything can happen in this lineup. And there we have it. Ale Arania, he used to, I know, love the 5Ks. I'm not sure if he likes them so much now with all the portages. But we can see a very strong lineup here. We've got Portugal, Bruno Brasileira also. Nico Paufler from Germany, very strong contender. But I think we seem to be missing Fernando Pimenta in this lineup. I'm not sure he's doing the 5,000 metres here today. I don't see his name. I could be wrong. Or is he in lane 8? Is that him in lane 8, Fernando Pimenta? Yes, I think he's in lane 8.
Yeah, I think he's in lane 8, which is great because I was just looking, and he's posted on social media that he won his 28th World Cup gold medal this weekend. So I think I wouldn't be betting against him trying to get number 29 in the next 25, 26 minutes or so. We'll have to see how it plays out. But the field is just absolutely stacked, isn't it, Jen? We've like all the athletes you've mentioned. We've also got Varga from Hungary. He's going to have the bonus of the home support. He's already picked up a silver medal here this weekend. He won the bronze in Milan at the World Championships. I'm quite keen to see Hamish Lovemore. He really made a splash on the canoe sprint world scene last year, and he came second in Milan. He's got a hugely impressive marathon background. There he is in the background just there, and he's probably one to keep an eye on too. Also with James Russell from Great Britain, you know, he's won European marathon gold medals in 2025. He won the gold and the silver at the Euros for the marathon distance and the short course. He also came fourth in Poznan at a World Cup in 2024. So he's never out of the mix, but it's an incredibly strong field for these athletes to be even standing a chance of fighting it out. So I think it's going to be a really fast one. I think it's going to be a really exciting one. And again, it's probably going to come down to who can keep their head while all around them are losing theirs.
Yeah, also Uli Hart for South Africa is lining up here today. He's been an under-23 medalist in marathon. We have young Sean Butterly. He's only 17 years of age. He's in his last year as a junior. He won the Marathon World Championships long distance last year. I know he's very excited to be lining up here today against some of his idols, and you know, I'm sure he's going to give it his best and enjoy the experience. So, as you said, James Russell, he is the European Marathon champion from last year, and I'm sure he'd be wanting to be right up there in the front group. But like the previous races, everyone is going to want to be in that front group as they approach that first turning point. It's going to be very interesting to see how they all approach this single buoy scenario.
Yeah, and I'm not wanting to put any extra pressure on the home paddlers, but here's a little bit of information for you, Jen. If Hungary were able to snatch the gold in this race, it would take them to the top of the medal table. So this is the last race of the day. Hungary currently sit third in the medal table with 3 gold, 8 silver and 4 bronze. AIN are ahead of them with 4 gold, no silvers and 1 bronze, and China are ahead of them with 4 gold, 4 silver and 2 bronze. So as we know, the medal table is worked out not on total medals but on the number of gold. So if Jen, Hungary, were to steal this gold from the other nations, it would take them from 3rd to the top, and that would be surely something that the crowd would go absolutely mad for.
No pressure, hey Emma? Yeah, I'm sure that the crowd would go absolutely mad for that. It's going to be some lineup, and whoever wins this is a serious athlete. Whoever is in the top 8 of this are serious athletes. You know, it's going to be a huge race, and I have to say that I think Mads Brad Pedersen and Fernando Pimenta will be definitely 2 of the paddlers that'll be up in that front group.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's hope that the Hungarian athletes don't know that wonderful Wigsy fact that I just came up with, because that would be extra pressure and it's not fair on their shoulders. But they're lined up. Those volunteers are holding the back of the boats. They're going to be released any second now, and it is going to be absolutely spectacular to see these boats powering their way down the course. So hold on to your hats, strap yourselves in. This is going to be a really exciting first 150 metres, and they're off. And look at the splash, Jen. Look at the acceleration. It's as if it's a 200 metres, trying to get your boat ahead of the rest of the field, trying to find that line and trying to make sure that you've got a really nice bit of water to be paddling in without someone messing it up next to you.
Yeah, absolutely. You're trying to get a clean line. You're trying to make your way into that front group. And as you can see, there's an athlete over the far side there taking it out. I think that is the Spanish athlete. Is it trying to make his way up into that front group? We'll see more as the athlete zooms in on them. There's the Hungarian athlete, number 28. That is Kaid from Hungary, making his way up there. But look at those waves. Everyone's trying to control their boat as they try and make their way up to the front of this pack. We can see a group forming down here on the bottom of our screens. That is led out by Fernando Pimenta, who had won the 1,000 metres yesterday. I'm sure he'd be looking for another gold medal. We can see Hamish Lovemore there to the right of Fernando Pimenta. There's Amund Vold as well in the centre there, having a fantastic start to his 5,000 metre race. And you'll see now in a minute that these 2 big groups will just form together to become one.
Yeah, and don't worry that you saw that one of the blue donuts that all the athletes went either side of. On this opening stretch, it doesn't matter which way they go, as long as they go round that blue donut that you can see in the distance. So they have to go round that from the right to the left that you can see in the distance. So until they reach that point, they can paddle anywhere they want, and then they'll have to go round the 2 blue donuts for every single lap. So these guys here, that's going to be a really tight turn, Jen, isn't it? They're heading towards that blue donut at some real speed, and they're going to have to be really careful with their paddle placement as they come round to make that turn. But you're right, it's Pimenta. Who would bet against him? He's out in the lead at the minute, but it's far too early until we've done a turn to decide who's in this group. Vold's there from Norway, looking strong, as is a real handful of talented athletes. This is going to be really close, Jen, isn't it?
Absolutely. You can see Pimenta leading it out there with Ale Arania. I think they're probably the 2 oldest competitors in this race, showing all the young guns how it's done there. We can see Mads Brad Pedersen making his way around the turn. There's a little bit of collision there. Sean Butterly is trying to get himself around that turning buoy. But yes, Pimenta has put himself in a fantastic position coming into that first portage. We'll see now when the camera comes away from this turning point how it's going. So yes, Pimenta is leading in. John Vold is also to his right. We have Ale Arania. We have a Spanish athlete. Look at Mads Brad Pedersen. Oh no, we've got a swimmer. Oh, the Hungarian athlete Kaid has taken a swim. Unfortunately, hopefully he'll be able to get back into the boat and continue his race.
So the rules, like, Jenna, he can get back in, can't he? He has to get back in by himself, try and get his paddle, and then once he gets to the pontoon, he can empty it. But that's not, as we can see there, that is not easy to get back into that boat. Not only are they really unstable, but you're wet, the boat's slippery. It's a bit like catching a bar of soap in the shower. That is going to be really hard work to get back into that boat.
Absolutely, and we can see here Fernando Pimenta is leading out, Hamish Lovemore is out second, followed by John Vold in third at the moment. They're leading out the pack. I'm sure we're going to see some of the other competitors coming through now soon. I saw Mads Brand Pedersen getting out of his boat as well very cleanly. We've got the Spanish athlete, that is Adrian Martin, also getting back into his boat now as they push away from the pontoon of their first portage of 5. There's James Russell as well doing a great portage, getting back in, and the other Portuguese athlete Brasileiro. So they're away cleanly from the first portage. They're going to be looking to try and get back in contention with the front athletes. There's Julie Hart, and we have Jokja, I think they're from Sweden as well, coming away from the portage. So all these athletes are really trying to get back in contention with that front group. And there we have Sean Butterly getting away cleanly from his first portage also. And oh no, we've got another swimmer. Oh, that's not nice. So we'll try and see who that is, but he needs to get back into his boat there and get away from that first portage.
Just look for the number on that one, just to let you know who that is when we get a second. But that was crazy, wasn't it, that first portage? Everyone fighting for position, but there's a group starting to establish themselves at the start of the race. Oh, it looks like he couldn't get back in his boat, the Hungarian athlete. Absolutely gutted. Just too hard to get in that slippery boat in the middle of the water with all the other paddlers going around you. So absolutely devastating for him in front of the home crowd. But there's your leading group on the left. It's Pimenta leading it out. We've got Vold in that group as well. We've got Martin from Spain, Lovemore from South Africa, and we will let you know the other paddlers in that leading group. But look there, look at the waves, look how the athlete in the green belt on the left just got caught on wash and then just couldn't hold it and took a swim. Not surprising when you look at the bounciness of the water. So really disappointing for him, and just shows how tricky this event is.
Yeah, absolutely. So disappointing for him and his home country competing, but you know, hopefully he'll learn from it and come back stronger. I think hopefully we'll get now a clip of the front competitors at the moment. They're showing also now the Uzbekistani athlete falling in at the portage. Not pleasant at all. Hopefully he got back into his boat and can continue on and try and catch up some positions. But there's the poor Hungarian guy, Kaid, being brought into the bank. But you know, he'll come back stronger. But here we have it. Here is the leading group coming in to the second portage. As we can see, Mads Brand Pedersen is right up there again. I'm sure his partner Josephine is at home cheering him on. He just became a dad earlier this year to his little girl Vega, so very special time for him. And we have also another Danish athlete here at the front as well, that is Jorgensen, and we have Pimenta coming into that portage for the second time. Hamish Lovemore as well, and Martin from Spain along with Vold as well. So they're all out cleanly out of their boats, they're running strong, and there's the top 4 boats with 2 just slightly behind.
Yeah, starting to stretch out now a little bit the field. The crowd are still really enjoying it, but there's Pedersen from Denmark just looking to get back in his boat and setting off. Really great portage from him. He's now put himself in the lead ahead of Pimenta and Lovemore, being chased by his teammate Jorgensen, and Vold is closely behind them. So it is all to play for with these boats at the front of the race. Martin from Spain was also in the mix. There's Lopez from Spain, not far behind that opening group.
We can see Ali Urania just walking through the portage there. I'm not sure if he's decided to end his race or not, but we have more competitors cleanly away from the second portage there. We saw James Russell just going away from the pontoon. And we have China, Ukraine, Slovakia trying to chase down the competitors in front of them as they re-embark their boats at this pontoon. So these boats are probably getting heavier and heavier every time they come around to the portage. They're 12 kilograms without any water in them, but as the race goes on, your boat gets more and more water in it. So here we have Mads Brad Pedersen, he's trying to make a break here. He's really making the group work hard. Hamish Lovemore is trying to hold on to the back of Pedersen's boat, along with Pimenta is on Pedersen's side wash. And we have the other Danish athlete, Jorgensen, as well, just holding on to the back of that group. They have done 2 portages of 5, so they have 3 more portages to go. As you can see, the water is very bumpy, very bouncy there. You can see the nose of the boat, but look at Pedersen. He loves this. He loves being out in front. He loves getting away from his competitors. He thrives in this atmosphere. He wants to just go on his own, and that would be his perfect race. But he's got 3 other competitors around him now as he approaches this turning buoy.
Yeah, and I guess that's a real tactic, isn't it, Jen? So he's so experienced, he knows his capabilities. Is he trying to break this group? Is he saying, okay guys, come on then, come with me if you can, because I'm setting the pace? Whereas in some of the other races we've seen the athletes kind of just happy to stay in a bit of a group and then make their move later on. It looks like he's just chomping at the bit to get going and to get away from this group, and that could really force the athletes to give more than they want to at this point in the race to try and stay with him, and that could end up costing them, couldn't it? They could end up falling away towards the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, Mads just loves that. He loves putting down the pace and making the other competitors work very hard. But Pimenta looks quite comfortable here on the wash, and Hamish is just hanging on that half V at the moment as they approach their 3rd portage. You can see that Mads wants to go to the right side of the buoy of him, or as we look at it, the left side of the buoy there, as he's approaching the 3rd portage. But he looks like he is increasing the pace, if anything. He has so much energy in his tank, and you can see Hamish is puffing quite hard over there on the other side, but he's trying to hold on for as long as possible to these front paddlers. If he holds on, he's guaranteed a podium position. If he can stay with Mads and stay with Pimenta, but we have Jorgensen as well, who's really holding on there in that 4th place. Here's Pedersen running very strongly on his 3rd portage. You can see he's looking very good and very strong. He's very smooth at getting back into the boat and gains a lot of time on that. So he's back into his boat. He's away from the pontoon. That's his 3rd portage.
Yeah, it's such a distinctive boat, isn't it? I love Pedersen's boat. It's really, really stands out from the rest of the boats. And I think that was a really nice example into that portage of Lovemore. Looked like he made a decision to go on the right-hand side, and then Pimenta also made that decision quite late and ended up coming across the South African paddler, not impeding him, but taking some of that water that Lovemore was probably hoping was his clear water to get out of that portage. And that, in a way, held up Lovemore. So clever tactics from the Portuguese champion Pimenta, and he will be looking to keep that pressure on as he keeps going to chase down Pedersen. But he is looking comfortable at the front of the race at the minute. It looks like there's another withdrawal from one of the Portuguese athletes there. But those are your leading 4 athletes. Mads Pedersen from Denmark, followed by Pimenta, who still looks comfortable and like he's paddling within himself. Lovemore from South Africa is currently 3rd, and Jorgensen from Denmark is chasing them down in 4th place at the minute.
Pedersen is just flying. He's led for the last 2 laps, I think, and seems to still have energy. And here we can see the young Sean Butterley running through his 3rd portage. I'm sure he's enjoying this experience among his idols, and he'll take a lot of good points from this and learn for the future as well. So he'll be getting back in, hopefully cleanly, to his boat now as he goes away from the pontoon and his 3rd portage. And we've got the Swiss athlete just trying to get back in as well, and hopefully they both get away cleanly here. And they're away. So they're trying to catch up some time, but here we have it. The top 3 boats away. That's Mads Brand Pedersen, Fernando Pimenta, and Hamish Lovemore. Hamish is hanging on in that half V. He doesn't want to let them get away from him. He needs to stay there if he wants to be on the podium. They're around the single turn buoy. They'll be approaching the 4th portage now of 5.
Yeah, so great, Jen, to see the young Irish paddler doing so well. He certainly hasn't looked out of place, has he, this weekend? He's done incredibly well in his races, so hopefully he will go home really happy and full of confidence and probably quite exhausted. There's Fernando Ngunza from Angola. He's a fantastic athlete. I got to meet him last year at the World Championships, and he's got a great story. You know, he was having to walk 7 kilometres just to get to training, and he was just doing everything he can to be a better athlete, and it's been amazing to see him step up again this year on the world stage. I actually helped him get a bicycle so that he could use some less energy to get to training, and that clearly has meant that he has been able to put more of his effort and energy into paddling his boat. So it's amazing to see him develop as a young athlete, and so great, Jen, to see nations from all across the globe represented on the water this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to see so many nations here. And there's Mads Brad Pedersen out of his boat. He let it go away a little bit. It cost him a bit of time, but he's up and running. He's flying through the portage. Pimenta's just on his heels. Hamish is trying to get back in contention with them at the moment. He needs to get back up onto that wash if he wants to try and secure that podium finish. This is their 4th portage of 5, and Pedersen is back in the boat so smoothly, so cleanly, and he's away from his 4th portage. He knows he's only 1 more portage to go, and he just loves this race. He loves this new combination of the 5K with the 5 portages. But Pimenta is up on his side wash, and look at Hamish Lovemore. He is trying to chase them down and get back in contention with them. Also, Jorgensen from Denmark doing a great job there. So the top 3 are all back together. As you can see now, the pace might slow down a bit, but I don't think Mads wants to let it slow down. I think he loves having this high pace. He loves to wear down his other athletes. He knows his aerobic engine is seriously strong. He always loves this tactic of going as fast as he can for as long as he can. Pimenta is with him. I can't see Lovemore at the moment. He could just be at the back of Fernando Pimenta's boat, but we'll wait and see if we can see him. But we now see some of the other athletes coming in. That's Sean Butterly along with the Swiss athlete following in there. But it looks like Mads Brand Pedersen is just going for it. I can't see Hamish Lovemore. I can't see Pimenta at the moment, but I think Pimenta is on his side wash. We'll have to see when the camera zooms out if he's still there or not. And yes, Pimenta's with him and Lovemore. Lovemore is back up on that half V. He is hanging on there. He doesn't want to let them get away. He knows that Jorgensen is not far behind them, and he does not want to chance 4th place catching up and taking that medal.
No, and I wonder whether that slight mishap by Pedersen at the last portage, where his boat just looked like it was going to float away from the jetty, gave him a bit of a spike in his heart rate, and that has allowed him to, oh my word, he's got his boat, oh, that could be game over there for the athlete from Austria. No, I think he's going to carry on fine, but he got the nose of his boat stuck in the pontoon. Wow, I haven't seen that before. That could have shattered that boat, but luckily they're made of stern stuff, these boats and these paddlers, and he is going to get back in and carry on. But that was a scary moment for the Austrian paddler. But yeah, Pedersen, Jen, almost looked like he's let go of the boat, heart rate spiked, and then he just stepped up and kept that going to try and get the lead. But Pimenta is not letting him get away. And I don't know, this is going to be really tight, because Pimenta can have a great finish from here. He's potentially saved a bit more energy, but Pedersen's so experienced, isn't he? I think he's going to try and stretch this lead into this portage and away, and hope that he can just break the Portuguese athlete. But this is going to be close. Lovemore looks like he is struggling to stay in touch with the leading 2 athletes. But there is 1 portage to go, and let's watch the action unfold.
Yeah, Pedersen is putting down some speed, but look at Pimenta. He is able to respond. He's trying to come by him, but Pimenta is sitting on the wash. Mads needs to be careful that Pimenta does not conserve too much energy, because as you said, Emma, he's a fantastic sprint, but Pedersen is trying to come into this portage, get out cleanly and run super fast to break Pimenta on this last portage. Pedersen loves the portages. Pimenta is very strong on the water, but they're both up and out, and oh, Pedersen just caught the nose of his boat there, but he's up and away, and he's following Pimenta now. Pimenta is in the lead, but Pedersen just behind him. I think this is going to come down to a 2-boat finish probably for the sprint. And as you can see, we have the bell ringing for the final lap. They're getting back in. They're back in smoothly. They're away from the last portage. Pedersen is trying to break away here after the last portage. He's gotten in the lead here, but I've no doubt that Pimenta is probably on his wash, and there is Pimenta. Pimenta is taking the lead. That definitely puts him in control of this race. It's going to be harder to come up and pass Pimenta when you're on his wash. So I think these two athletes are going to play cat and mouse now for this final lap.
Yeah, and that's the rest of the field coming in to the last portage. They're going to be really pleased to get this one done and get back on the water for one final lap. But there are your two leaders, with Hamish Lovemore just in the background, still hanging on to third place, but trying desperately, I fear it's in vain, to get back in touch with the leading two. There's Varga from Hungary. Not going to be his day. It's not going to be Hungary's day to steal that gold and take that top place in the medal table. But these are your two that are fighting it out. This is going to be really close, Jen, isn't it? They're going to go neck and neck all the way down to the finish.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely neck and neck, and Pimenta is such a great sprinter, and Mads is on his wash now. It's going to be very hard for Mads to get up and over that wash in that final sprint. But here's Martin Natal, who's done his last portage and he's away cleanly. But Hamish Lovemore is trying to surf that wave up on the outside there. He's trying to stay in contention with them. I think his whole body is probably burning at this stage. He's just thinking, please let me get that bronze medal. I'm sure he can feel Jorgensen breathing at the back of his neck coming up. I've been in that position myself in bronze medal, and you can just hear nearly the fourth place trying to catch up to you, and all you want to do is hang on to that bronze medal without them catching. So I think Hamish is in a good position now. He's definitely making some ground on Pimenta and Mads, because Pimenta and Mads have actually slowed down a bit. Pimenta is now controlling the race, whereas Mads was before. He was really putting down a marker, keeping the pace up. But here we have it. It's their final turn. It's very messy there. They're close to close. Everything is shaking. Their boats are banging off each other, and here they are. They're out of the final turn. They're into the home sprint. Mads is trying to come back for bypass Pimenta, but Pimenta is not letting up. Pimenta is definitely in control now. Mads needs to find something extra in his body to be able to change gear in that final sprint. He's coming around. He's changing sides. He obviously feels like he wants to be up on this lane. Here comes Pimenta over also to this lane. Hamish is just hanging off the back there, but this is going to be some sprint between Pimenta and Pedersen. Pimenta is still in front. I think he's nearly about a boat length in front now. So it's going to be very hard for Pedersen to try and come up past him in this final stages of the race. They're going to be approaching about the 150 metre mark. You can see Pedersen is kicking. He's driving with his legs. He's rotating. He's back up on Pimenta's wash. Pimenta looks very, very at ease here. And Pimenta has gone more right, and Mads is going around the back of him again. Pimenta's stroke rate is nowhere near as high as Mads, but here goes Mads. Pedersen is trying to come up, but Pimenta is defending it. I think Pimenta has it. He's defending it all the way to the line. Pedersen needs to try and make another break for it now if he wants to take this gold, but it looks like Fernando Pimenta wins the gold medal, followed by Mads Brandt Pedersen. And in bronze medal position, we will see across the finish line, but I think it's going to be Hamish Lovemore.
Wow, what a finish. And here comes Lovemore to take the bronze. Really impressive paddle by him, but he just couldn't stay with those leaders. They were in a fight with each other that just pushed that standard, pushed those boats further and further on, and that's the beauty of having someone really alongside you. There's Amundfold looking to come down as well for a fantastic finish in 5th, I think, and Martin from Spain will get 6th. So really impressive paddling from them. They've kind of finished where they started, I guess, Jen. So impressive that they've kept that position all the way through. They all look absolutely exhausted. So fair play to all of their paddlers out there today. But it's Pimenta that takes the gold from a really valiant fight by Pedersen. Just couldn't hold on. Those two tiny, tiny errors on the portages just seemed to cost him. He just lost that little bit of time and space. and that's cost him the gold medal today. But fantastic paddling. And there's Varga coming through for Hungary. He'll get a top 10 finish, but not probably the position that he wanted. But in this field, that's a phenomenal effort.
Yeah, like you said, Emma, they all look absolutely wrecked. Pimenta was breathing heavy there when he crossed the finish line, and here we can see Joachim Lindberg coming to the finish line. He also just became a father this year, and I think he's had a few health issues, so he's trying to get back up into his top speed at the moment. But yes, Pimenta looked absolutely exhausted, as did Mads. I could see Mads just shaking his head when he crossed the finish line, going, "Whew, that was tough," and just kind of like, to Pimenta, how are you able to do that kind of thing? So Hamish Lovemore also looked very red earlier in the race stages. I think he'd be very happy with that bronze medal to hang on to it. But as you said, all these athletes have given it their all, and once you give it your all and cross that finish line knowing that you've expended all your energy, there's not much more you can do, except possibly you might not have had a clean race that you're happy with, but if you have a clean race and you gave it your all, then that's all you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Really fantastic racing here this afternoon. Everyone in these 5,000 metres has taken it to the metal. They've gone round these new boys, this new setup, these new rules, and it's been tight on those turns, but they've adapted well, and they've absolutely put on a show for us this afternoon in the beautiful Szeged sunshine. Those athletes crossing the line, a busy, busy weekend of racing, and they'll be delighted to finish up this race and get themselves back. There's Sean Butterley coming across the line. Jen, what a weekend for the youngster.
Yeah, absolutely. He has to be very proud of himself, and it's his first senior competition, and I'm sure the first of many. And going out here, there's no expectations. He was just trying to get as much experience as possible and another few races under his belt before he goes into the Junior World Championships in Halifax, Canada in July, followed by the Sprint European Championships Junior, which are back here in Szeged at the end of July.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us here on Planet Canoe's YouTube channel. This has been 3 days of pulsating, powerful paddling in Szeged, the city of sunshine, here at the ICF Canoe Sprint World Cup 172 medals have been awarded, some to familiar faces and some to some bright young stars. There's no doubt for me who's stolen the show. Pimenta Power picking up his 28th and 29th gold medals at World Cups. We've had 14-year-olds right the way through to 39-year-olds paddling out there on the water. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. Thank you to my co-commentator this afternoon, Jenny Egan-Simmons, Ross Sully and Elise Wood. It's another chapter of our amazing sport, and it started here in 2026. Please make sure you join us again next week in Brandenburg, where Para Canoe will join the party. We'll see you then. Thanks ever so much for joining us.
Get ready for a historic